Hey guys, can you believe it? It's spring right now. We made it through the winter, and it's a time of renewal, a time of new life. And for us astrophotographers, it is galaxy season. And I kind of trip out about this time of year because when I think about it, all the nebula dip down below the horizon, and then all we see in our night skies is galaxies, which also symbolizes new life. And speaking of new, I got a new one-shot color camera, at least new to me, and it's just in time to capture all these nice little faint galaxies. And we're gonna do it's not really a first test because I did use it in the ASI071MC OSC test, but it's gonna be the first serious test because we're going to select an awesome target. Also, it's the first year that I've had a refractor with long enough focal length to capture galaxies in great detail. So I'm going to pair this up with my ASI071MC and kind of see what we get. Before we get into things, the one thing that surprised me most when I announced I was getting the ASI071 was the response from you guys. Apparently, there is quite a few of you still interested in this classic camera, and I think it's because of the price point. For me, it made a lot of sense because I am going to purchase another monochrome camera, so I need to buy new filters for it because I'm upgrading to APS-C later down the road. And this allowed me to get into OSC imaging and also buy filters for it because I do also need filters for this. I plan to shoot narrowband through it, so I spent some money and got the ASCAR D1 and D2 series, which I also will feature on this channel here in an upcoming video as soon as the nebulas come back in our space. And I bought Optolong L Pro 2-inch and also a Optolong CLS 2-inch, and it's not just for this OSC camera. Honestly, I use these CLS filters and light pollution filters for luminance in my monochrome shooting because they bring a certain amount of contrast that I like so much. So with all that money kind of floating around there, buying the ASI071 was kind of a no-brainer. The question remains from you guys is, will the ASI071 frost over on me? Because I think this camera has a reputation of frosting over, which I had no idea. And some of you reached out and said, hey, I have no problems with my ASI071. It has never frosted over on me. Maybe it was some of the earlier models of this camera. So if this camera frosts over on me at any given time, I will make a video about it and you guys will be the first to know. Also, for me, I also shoot with a 183mm that I shoot at 20 megapixels, and I also shoot with a 47 megapixel 294mm Pro. I shoot at those resolutions because I like to crop in, and we're going to see if 16 megapixels is going to be enough for me, because it may or may not be, but I have a feeling it's probably going to be just enough. So because we are going to shoot with this classic camera, it's time to select a classic target. And I think a good classic target to go shooting tonight for the first time is going to be the Pinwheel Galaxy. I think it's going to fit in frame really, really well with my ASCAR-103. And we're going to see how far we can crop in without losing resolution. And I'll be shooting with a sampling of 1.4, and I should be getting some really, really sharp pictures out of this camera. So it's kind of the ideal situation for this. I'm just gonna, set it and forget it, get a lot of exposure time on my target, and seeing where we end up. So I guess the only thing we need to do now is wait till it gets dark enough and get on out there. All right, imaging is underway. It is a beautiful night tonight, guys. No moon, check that out. And I got a late start actually, and I have to go to work in the morning. Oh, I'm gonna be so tired, but it's gonna be so worth it. Here it is. Just got the ASCAR 103 with my ZWO ASI071 and getting some data on the pinwheel Galaxy right now. Hopefully I'm gonna expose some of those little floaty bits around the Galaxy, but I'm not sure. I'm taking 4-minute subs, and the pinwheel is straight up, so it's in perfect position to get the best resolution on it tonight. So I am really excited to see what this is going to look like. And for tonight's extracurricular activity, I brought my handheld PC. I'm going to be playing a horror game called The Quarry. Hopefully I won't get too scared tonight, because look how dark it is out here.
Yeah, saw it online.
Damn. You need a hand?
Yeah.
Alright, so far so good. I am about 7 subs in. So let's check out what I got here. So here's the pinwheel in fantastic resolution here. No dust bunnies on my sensor. I made sure of that. And check that out. If I annotate all this, I got in view 5474 in view, and also 5473, which is down here. And check this out, there's some floaty bits right here, right? That I'm starting to resolve. Isn't that pretty cool? Check this out, got some creepy fog rolling in here. Oh my gosh. And my scope is pretty much imaging straight up right now. And I'm not hitting my tripod, which is great. And it seems like, and of course, the higher I'm imaging, the sharper my pictures are. So I've got 2 hours of data. I'm going to go for 1 more hour. See if I can just round this out with 3 hours tonight and maybe get some sleep before I have to go to work tomorrow. So we'll see, and we'll hope for the best on this. It's supposed to cloud over pretty soon, but I don't see any clouds in the sky, so I think I'm lucking out. I was just kind of sitting in here, keeping warm in the car, and I don't know if you can see that, but the moon is coming up over the hillside right now. Looks like it's about 75% too. It's almost 3 o'clock in the morning. Man, it is beautiful. Can't believe it. I nabbed my 3 hours tonight. I'm taking my flats, and I think I'm going to be out of here shortly after that. Check out the moon right now. Whew. Man, it is gorgeous. What a night this was, guys. Seriously. Man, I really needed this. Man, beautiful, beautiful night. Right, guys, well, it's time to go over the data. First things first, though, remember when I said I would stay out and get 3 hours of data? I actually stayed up later with the moon, and I actually got about almost 5 hours of data. So I was tired, but it was actually worth it because I wanted to produce the best photo I could in one night. and just seeing if I could do that with a one-shot color camera. Also, did the 071 frost over on me? It didn't actually, but here's what I did notice. The ASI air appears to cool the 071 down a lot slower than my other cameras. I did notice that. I'm not sure at what point that was rolled out on the ASI air or if it's just me imagining things, but it appears that the ASI air cools the 071 down a lot slower than, say, my 183 or 294. So I just kind of wanted to point that out. Also, actually working with the 071 data was kind of a joy. I've never had a camera yet that didn't have any amp glow or inherent sensor problems. And let me actually walk you through it and why I say that. So here is a dark frame from my 183. And with my 183, I actually deal with a lot of amp glow. And it's not a really big issue because it does calibrate out 100%. But it's nice to not have a sensor that doesn't have this big starburst pattern. Also with my 294, I have well, it's called sensor modeling, and it's actually terrible. So let me bring that up for you. I don't know if you can see it in here, but it is this patchy kind of look to my subframes, right? So you'll see it here. This pattern appears in everything that I shoot. And this is not a defect on the sensor. It is just something inherent in this sensor. And all camera sensors have a signature to it. The 294 just has a well-known signature to it. And it calibrates fully out with dark flats and flats, but you have to take those extra steps, I should say, to get a nice result. I don't mind doing it because of what the 294 brings to me, but again, it's really nice to have a sensor that doesn't have these problems out of the gate. Now, that being said, let me show you what the 071 sensor looked like. And I did take a single sub and I just stretched it with the screen transfer function. So let's take a look at that. All right, so here is a single sub, and you can see that it's not debared yet. So I just wanted to show you a raw sub, and it's pretty amazing, really. The field is really flat, especially not calibrated. I don't see any starburst patterns and no weird patchiness in the sensor itself. So stacking and also editing or processing with this sensor was really, really good. I enjoyed it a lot. And here is almost 5 hours of data on the Pinwheel Galaxy. And I'm really excited about this. One thing to note is my skies out here is Bortle 6-7. So my light pollution is considerable. And the space that I see at night is not actually black. It's kind of a navy blue. And I did capture that in this photo here. It's not quite black. It's really kind of a deep blue. Now I can just adjust the black point on here, but I kind of wanted to leave it that way just so that you can kind of see where I'm shooting from. It's nice to know that the accuracy on the 071, the color that it produces is pretty close to what I see at night. So that made me really happy. Also, I got a lot of details in the Pinwheel Galaxy itself. I also got 5474 in frame and also 5473 in really good detail. I'm getting other galaxies too, because you see one small one here, one small one there. And the thing that surprised me the most is when I kind of zoom in here, I'm getting like little fuzzy blobs of stuff, right? I think here's another galaxy, and here's definitely some galaxies here. There's something here. I can't quite make it out, but I think with more exposure time, I'll be able to get a lot of some of this fainter stuff in this part of the photo, which tells me the 071 is pretty sensitive on its own. So it's picking up not only the bright areas, but also a lot of the fainter stuff. And I just need to get more exposure time and see what's here, and possibly integrate this with maybe some place that has darker skies. But I think I really have a good start here. But let's check out the pinwheel. I mean, the pinwheel is looking amazing, right? Look how much detail I got in her. And right here, I'm resolving the faintest part of this galaxy right now. And it's these arms that just kind of stretch out here. I'm very confident that if I get more exposure time, I'll be able to resolve those too. So not bad on the 071. The only thing that I did notice was I didn't get a lot of that electric blue color that I know is in the pinwheel galaxy. Now, I think with more exposure time and probably some integration with HA, I should probably get some of that in here, but I just don't know how long that's going to take. Again, this is my first go at OSC, shooting, right? And I'm really excited to see where this turns out later down the road. But again, I think I have a really, really good start. Okay, so let's see how much resolution that I got out of this 16 megapixel sensor. Let's see how far we can crop in without losing a lot of that detail. So let's start at 100% here, but let's kind of zoom in a little bit. All right, still looking good here. Looking really good here still. All right, so this is probably about 100% crop right here. And I think this is probably the most I would be able to crop in and still use it, right? Or me being comfortable showing this to anybody. But you'll see that we're getting some weird artifacts in the stars just because of how I stretched it. And usually when you start losing resolution from cropping in, that's what you'll notice first. And you'll notice some ringing here around the black hole. So that can easily be fixed, but these are things that I always notice as I'm cropping in, and I know when I start seeing those things, I should probably back off a little bit. So I would probably maybe use this as a crop. So that's probably 50 to 75% cropped in, which is still not bad, and still having all this detail in here, and it looks really good. But let's see how much further we can go. So this was probably about 100%. Let's keep going in. And here's where things look really muddy, right? I would never crop in this far, but the nice thing is I am getting a lot of these little chunks of whatever this is hanging out in this galaxy. I know when I get more exposure time on it, this is going to clear up quite a bit, but still, I am getting decent resolution, but it's not something that I would be comfortable cropping into. And I bet you if we zoom in just one more click, we're going to see some pixelation on the stars. Let's check this out. And we got some pixelation on the stars and very pronounced ringing around the black hole here. So, is this sensor enough for me to work with? And I would say yes, absolutely. I'm really impressed with the 071 and how it handles things. It's a joy to process with. It's really easy to shoot with. I mean, I got one set of flats, right? And I got one set of darks. I didn't have to shoot 3 or 4 different sets, and it was just really easy to acquire the data. All I really had to do was just make sure it was in focus, and I just checked on focus every hour. So really, I did focus like 4 to 5 times. That was about it. Well, guys, there's only one thing left to do, and that is enjoy my photo of the Pinwheel Galaxy. Well, guys, that's it for this one, and I'll see y'all in the next. Peace.